Hello! I would like to show off two programs that I wrote for GURPS. They mostly were for my personal use, but they might be useful for you, who knows? The first one that I released only a few days ago is the first version of GURPS Treasure Generator. I must warn you, I am not a programmer, I am just operating from what I learned back in school. So I made it in Delphi. Uh, you probably know that GURPS has GURPS Dungeon Fantasy 8 treasure tables. It is an excellent book. I highly recommend you check it out. But it does not use all the options. That book is strictly for Dungeon Fantasy and you cannot really expand it in any way. So I have decided to write a treasure generator that uses a different algorithm. It doesn't work the way GURPS Dungeon Fantasy 8 treasure tables does, but it uses many of the options there. So how does it work? First of all, there are some item types. All of them work aside from axe. That's just for the future, if I would like to limit something. It just generates one random item from these types. Wait, didn't I make the buttons that select and deselect all? That's weird. Anyway, so this is item SM. By default, most of the characters are size modifier 0. You can randomize it from SM-6 to SM plus 6. But still, size modifiers closer to 0 will be more common. Or you can uncheck this box to make a static item for this size modifier. Decorations can work by default. That means that you get ornate +1, ornate +2, or something like that. Or detail that use the approach from Dungeon Fantasy 8, so you have decorative embellishments and all that. You can also generate history, that's also a thing from DF8 book. And here is the output. I have included most of the options that would be relevant for my games. So there might be some things missing. For example, let me show you how melee weapons work. Let's randomize it. For example, we have a Tetsubo with a base cost of $100, a base weight of 10 pounds. It has been scaled up for size modifier 1 using the rules from Low-Tech Companion 2. It has a new material applied, Recalcum. It's a full metal weapon, that's an option from Fantasy Tech 2. It's cheap by being made of Recalcum, but that's a legal combination. And has some decorations. And we have even the final adjusted cost and weight. We can have whips, nunchucks. All options are present from Low-Tech, Low-Tech Companion 2, GURPS Fantasy, Dungeon Fantasy, GURPS Basic Set, and some other books. Probably not all of them. So you can have different qualities, different attachments, different materials, and I think they all should be compatible with one another, unless I missed something. So for example, there is the fine quality, bronze material, balanced. Where are any attachments from Low-Tech Companion 2? Oh, if the item has gems, the gem is not counted in the final cost. It's something separate. because I have too few brain cells to code that. I'm not good at coding. Okay. Come on, I would like to show off any of the attachments. See, this is a glaive with a short handle from low-tech companion 2. That's possible. If you have whips or anything of variable length, it's all included. See, there's a dowel with no hilt. If you are generating a ranged weapon, you get rated strength, because bows and crossbows have rated strength. So for a regular bow, the minimum is 10, the maximum is 30, and this one has rated strength 16. That's all good. Shields include options from Shields Up. That's a relatively new book. And that's cool. See, this is an Argive shield, or Argive, I do not know how to pronounce it. With no gauge. It's a dwarven shield, it's a fine and balanced shield, and has some decorations. Armor is generated piecemeal. So see, there's a heavy mail for the torso, and that's a pretty simple item. Medium scale, only for the arms. Heavy leather pot helm with padding, with a plume or crest, with nasal spectacles and cheek guards. See, that's quite complex. Chest, cheap. Some other unique options such as splintered armor. It's all included here. The rest of the items are mostly from Dungeon Fantasy VIII, but you can add your own. See, I can generate gems with different carrots and other various items, such as ropes. You can even have length of a rope. And most things that can be scaled for a size modifier can be scaled. There is a lifting sling scaled for SM plus 3 creature, a padlock for SM plus 1, and all that. Books and maps also have all the options included. So this is a book with obscure knowledge that has 7 points in a skill. I do not know in which skill yet. It is made of stained glass, bound as a codex, written in Elven, and it's also decorated. And that's it. The data files are all editable. So, for example, that's how the data file for melee weapons looks like. For example, you have mace with a base cost of 50, base weight of 5, base reach of 1. It does crushing damage, it's a swung weapon, hafted weapon, it's a mace, it's metal, it has a wooden haft, it can be thrown, and it has a head. So all these tags are important when determining which attachments are legal and which attachments are not. So that's it for the treasure generator. I will expand it. I still want to include some things from GURPS Dungeon Fantasy Treasures 1 Glittering Prizes. That's an excellent book about coins. And the next step will be generated enchantments. That's going to be more difficult, but I think I can do it. So the next program is GURPS Armoury. That's actually two separate programs, one for conventional slug throwers and electromagnetic guns, and the other one for beam weapons. So I made these to program specifically for my personal use. I wanted to generate my own guns for my sci-fi setting, but as you might know, and as you probably know, GURPS 4th edition does not have rules for creating your own weapons, at least conventional slug throwers and electromagnetic guns. We do have a beam and laser design system. So I based this one on GURPS vehicles from the 3rd edition, but then I scrapped some of the things, then I reworked it again and again, and ended up extrapolating the numbers from existing pieces of weaponry based on Douglas Cole's Gun Day articles. Those are great. So here you type the name of the weapon, let's call it gun, the bore size in millimeter, for example 7. Then you have to choose a loading mechanism. These all are mechanisms from GURPS vehicles. Let's choose, for example, light automatic. Then you have to choose configuration. So maybe it's a pistol. Cannons do not work yet. It's a pistol, then I have to choose an abstract barrel length, for example medium. I can make it into a shotgun, an extra low powered weapon. I can make it recoilless with cold countermass. Guns / launchers do not work yet. I can make it an electric automatic weapon. I can set a TL, for example it's a TL10 gun. Power mod is just an arbitrary modifier to damage. It affects all other things. It exists here just if in case you want to adjust something. There is styling that's identical to ornate. Accessory rails from Ultratech, for example, let's include an underbarrel accessory rail. Rate of fire, for example, 6. Shots, it's a caseless closed bolt, for example 12 shots. Let's make it an ETC weapon, but also make it house rolled. These house rolls were made by David Pulver and posted on the SJ Games forums. Basically they make ETC and ETK and Gauss weapons much better, as in not overpowered, just better. They make more sense. We can have some muzzle attachments from tactical shooting and pyramid 55. Okay, we can even use paper cells from pyramid 12. Weapon camouflage, it's a caseless gun, closed bolt gun. I can also modify caseless guns to make them able to fire high cyclic controlled bursts. That's a rule from GURPS High Tech that was released after GURPS Ultra Tech, and the rules for HCCBs were taken from the Hard Math blog, if I recall things correctly. So you can choose either none, or make it able to fire these high cyclic controlled bursts, or make it be able to fire them but use preloaded barrels. There are some requirements, as you can see. Rate of fire 6+, rate of fire 2+. Gauss weapons also can do that. Okay, then we have some additional features from Ultratech, from pyramids, high-tech, tactical shooting, all that cool stuff, and even quality modifiers, also arbitrary extra weight and arbitrary extra cost factor. So let's generate it. And we have pistol that deals 3D damage, such range, such weight, with strength requirement 7, bulk -3, cost $1,300, with such and such features, and statistics for ammunition. And I simply love this program. I just have to warn you that do not use it for any weapons below TL9, because it simply won't work. You will have some crazy numbers. For example, let's make it an ETK weapon. Here we have higher damage, higher range, higher cost. Since we have higher damage, we also have higher strength requirement. If we try to make it a Gauss weapon, we get something silly, because our bore size is way too large. See, we need to have strength 19. If you use Gauss weapons, you get also statistics for boosted velocity, for low velocity, both in damage, in range, and even in strength. I think that's this does not work in by default. Equal 6? What? Oh, I guess might make sense. Yeah, that's more like it. Hey, if we check this box, we are using house rules for Gauss weapons. If we do not check it, we get some more traditional lower damage but higher armor divisor. And let's make it have enhanced HCCBs, see? 6 sharp, bursts of 3. We can also generate graph weapons. And they work, I think, fine. I haven't fine-tuned them much, but they do work. Also, there's also something wrong with the SMG generations. They seem to be too weak, but or did I adjust it? If you do not like a number, you can just use a power mod here. So that's it. And now I'm going to show you the beam version. And this is the beam weapons armory. It works identically, but this time it uses the existing beam and laser design system from Pyramid. We can name our weapon gun, set the damage in dice, for example 7D, choose a configuration, for example it's a rifle, to the focal array, for example small, and make it a rainbow laser, a TL11 rainbow laser with rate of fire 10 that requires a TL11 T cell and fires low, light automatic with house ruled rate of fire, and for example house ruled strength from GURPS. And we have some other stuff here. And click the design button and we get our gun. So it is the default, not default, that's not the right word. The system from Pyramid, I think 34, I do not remember the number actually. But I have expanded it greatly with the stuff from GURPS, from the blog. Also some of stuff written by me, and also some stuff from the hard math blog. For example, stuff and SMG configurations, and some weapons as well. What I really like is that you can generate plasma weapons. For example, this plasma gun that deals 12 dice, as it's semi-automatic. If you're generating a plasma gun, if it's a quote-unquote realistic plasma gun, you have to choose a medium focal array at all times. But also, there are some features for plasma guns. For example, you can make it a shotgun with a diffusion factor of 2. So now we have... Yeah, this stat block is huge because there is a normal damage, there is a diffuse damage. Let's remove diffuse. Okay, where is it? Normal damage, blaster shotgun damage, hot shot damage, blaster shotgun hot shot damage. And you can make it, for example, it cannot fire normal shots. It can only work as a shotgun. These the normal damage numbers still exist here, but I cannot remove them. And you get all the relevant stats here. See, blaster shotgun rate of fire 3 times 8. There is all the stuff here, and the randomize button for some reason does not... Wait, it does work properly. It doesn't work properly in the ballistic weapons program. In the ballistic weapon program, it only randomizes everything on the left, but not everything on the right. And I have no idea why. I have checked the source code, and still I have no idea. For example, that's a random cannon, neural disruptor cannon, that imposes HT minus 23 affliction in a line on a huge range. It requires 3C vapor cells and it's a mounted weapon. So that's cool. And that's all I wanted to show you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, and I guess Merry Christmas!